What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Murph's Boston Sports Talk. I am your host, James Murphy, aka Murph, and welcome back. Okay, so we do have Bruins to talk about today, and we will talk about the Bruins. We have Celtic to talk about, and we are going to talk about the Celtics. And I'm sorry that today we're not going to be able to talk about the Red Sox or the Patriots, excuse me. I know that a lot of people want me to talk about the Red Sox and their recent struggles out of the gate here to start the season. But with the Bruins and the Celtics in the midst of a playoff push, it's typical to talk about the Red Sox right now just because of everything's going on here in Boston sports. It's playoff time, baby. And listen, the Red Sox could be on fire right now, winning their past 10 out of 11 games, and I still wouldn't talk about them because we do have a lot to talk about in regards to the Bruins, which we need to catch up on. We haven't talked about the Bruins in, it feels like, I don't know, a couple months maybe. But the Celtics, which we talked about on Monday, and we're going to dive into them again with the series tied up 1-1. Actually, I didn't even talk about the Celtics on Monday, now that I remember, because I was just talking about the Patriots and their draft class. So we have a little catching up to do there with them. But before we get into any of that discussion today, I do have to just remind you of a little housekeeping, and that is today's episode number 141 is here out now on Thursday for you rather than Friday because I'm moving Friday's episode to today, and the shop, Murph's Cardtown Sports Shop, will also be closed on Friday because Kim, is graduating, so going to be with her celebrating and just really enjoying her special day with her massive life achievement. So hopefully there's no misunderstanding, no confusion, and I do apologize for the inconvenience, but hopefully it can be understood. Moving forward with Murph's Boston Sports Talk, I talked about this on Monday, and I will mention it again. Moving forward, there will be episodes only on Friday. So previously, it's been Monday and Friday, Monday, Friday, Monday, Friday. Moving forward, it's just going to be Friday. So on May 13th, that will be episode number 142. So no episode tomorrow. That's why we're, recording and releasing this episode today. Starting on May 13th, there will be episodes every Friday. No longer having episodes on Monday and Friday, just Monday. So again, a lot of people requested that I do longer shows once a week, and starting on the 13th, that is something that I plan on doing because some people may have the time to listen to 2 episodes that are maybe like 40, 45 minutes a week. Some people rather just listen to 1 hour-long episode per week. I had a bunch of people say that they would like to see 1 episode but be longer a week. So I'm going to try it out for a little bit, see what it feels like, see how people, kind of react to it, and just kind of go from there with it. I mean, it's definitely not set in stone, but it's something I want to try out. So that's what we're going to do. So again, quick reminder, today's episode number 141 is replacing tomorrow's episode, and then starting on May 13th, episode 142 will air, and then every Friday we're going to be having new episodes from that moment forward. But hopefully, again, that can be understood and appreciated as well. Thank you so much for understanding. But let's dive into the Bruins. God. Inhale, outhale. Man, the Bruins have been something else, let me tell you. It's just, they didn't limp into the playoffs. They actually played fairly well down the stretch. I mean, they beat the Rangers 3-1, the Canadiens 5-3, the Panthers 4-2, the Sabres 5-0, and they lost the last game of the season 5-2 to the Maple Leafs. So, coming in to the playoffs, they were playing fairly well. But boy, has the scoring been tough for the Bruins to come by here in the playoffs. They've given up 5 goals in both games, granted a couple empty netters, but the Bruins only been able to score 3 goals in those 2 games is not a good look at all for this team, especially a team that has David Pastrnak, Brad Marchand, Patrice Bergeron, Taylor Hall. Jake DeBrusk has come on really strong this year ever since he got bumped up to that first line with Bergeron and with Marchand. But just everything has gone stagnant for the Bruins. They have no power play unit. They're like won for their past 50 or whatever the hell it may be. It's where did this collapse go? Or where did it come from? And towards the end of the season, there was always speculation who's going to start in net, Linus Ullmark or Jeremy Swayman. And Ullmark has had some really nice saves here in the series so far. But, I mean, it's nothing to show for because he's still allowing in goals. And granted, some of them are his fault. Some of them aren't. Obviously you have to take into account the few empty netters that they've scored. But you have to go Swayman in Game 3. You absolutely have to. I mean, you have to give them a different look. You have to give someone else a chance in net to maybe shut the door in a Game 3 and allow your Bruins to only score a couple of goals and still win. Maybe the change of the goalie will kind of wake the team up a bit. It can allow Linus Ullmark to reset. Hopefully he doesn't check completely out since he's no longer going to be in the series for the time being at least. Bruce Cassidy has a lot on his plate. And when I was driving into the shop today, I was listening to sports radio, like I always do. And there was conversations that, well, whose job is more in jeopardy? Bruce Cassidy, the coach, or Don Sweeney, the general manager? And a lot of people were saying that Bruce Cassidy's job was in danger. He's in the hot seat right now. Because of he's been the coach for 5-6 seasons now. You have a Stanley Cup appearance to show for it. But that's it. And you've regressed every year since then. And Don Sweeney, he has made some moves. He's brought in Taylor Hall. He re-signed Taylor Hall. He brought in Hampus Lindholm. He's re-signed Hampus Lindholm. At this point, there's nothing he can do. He can't go out there and score goals. He can't go out there and play defense or stop pucks. He can't go out there and coach. These are all intangibles that the coach can moderately control. Certain offensive game plans, certain defensive game plans, your goaltending, coaching the goaltending, coaching the defense and the offense, coaching special teams. These are all things that are controllable by him. And listen, I don't hate Bruce Cassidy. I think he's a really good coach. He was a great successor to Claude Julien when he got fired. And a lot of the players at the time really listened to Bruce Cassidy because he was a different voice. And I wonder if now is the time that the Bruins need that different voice again. Obviously, you're not going to make a change in the middle of the playoffs, but this is a conversation to have in the offseason. Don Sweeney's contract is up at the end of the season. Bruce Cassidy has one more year left on his coaching contract. But, I do believe that Don Sweeney has done what he can to provide Cassidy the tools and the resources to go out and make a strong push at a Stanley Cup Finals appearance. For the bare minimum, again, going back to our conversations time and time again with the Patriots, with the Celtics, with the Red Sox, the city of Boston has championship aspirations. If it's not a championship, we don't want it. If it's not a championship, then it's a failed season. And sadly, that's kind of what it looks like it's trending for here for the Bruins, is something in regard to that. Now, again, could Don Sweeney have done more at the trade deadline? Sure. Could he have gotten another forward or another centerman? Absolutely. But he brought in the best defensive player on the market at the time. That says something. He was able to re-sign him. Last year, he brought in Taylor Hall, who was probably one of the premier wing players or forwards that was on the market at the deadline last year. Brought him in from Buffalo. And both of those players are re-signed, so they weren't rental pieces, or at the time they were when they was traded for, but then they got re-signed. So I'm not going to say Don Sweeney has made all the perfect moves and he's pushed all the right buttons. Could there be improvements on his end and his behalf? Yes, of course. But I don't think he's entirely to blame. I would put maybe 15% of the blame on him. Right? I'd put 15% on him, 40% maybe on Cassidy, and 35% on the players, or 40% on the players and 35% on Cassidy, however you kind of want to flip-flop those, or you want to split the difference and go 37.5, that works too. Because, yes, Don Sweeney has to put the roster together. He has to put the team together. But Cassidy also has to go out and execute the offensive game plan, defensive game plan, come up with schemes and special team stuff, everything that I've already mentioned. But also the players have to go out and execute that implemented game plan for the offense and the defense and the special teams, and work on practicing goaltending and getting shots on and blocking shots and all the nuances and all the ins and outs of hockey. The players have to go do that. And I don't think that this series is completely over for the Bruins. It looks just about over, being down 2-0. But hey, you're coming back home. You got the next 2 games here on your home ice, tomorrow at 7 and Sunday at 12:30 p.m. So you have a couple home games to kind of reset and get yourself back into the series. But Game 3 is a must-win game, clearly. It is a must-win game for the Bruins. You don't want to go down 3-0. You're basically going to check yourself out. Bergeron's on an expiring contract, so he could be checked out if you're down 3-0. But again, the Bruins have a good roster. It's not like they're some bums that snuck into the playoffs and are trying to be a Cinderella story. They have great players on their team. They have a really good unit, or good units, plural. They've had a couple of goalies that have played fairly spectacular so far this year, or throughout the entire regular season. So what's the problem? What is the problem? Is Carolina just simply better than you? Are the Carolina Hurricanes just simply better than you? Offensively, defensively, special teams. I mean, they're down to the 3rd goaltender, a rookie who played 3 regular season games and doesn't speak any English. And you're going to let that guy beat you when you have 4 of the best players for their respective positions on your team? Pastrnak, Bergeron, Marchand, Hall. Like, I hope the Hurricanes goalie Ranta is okay. I mean, he looks like he took a pretty good hit to the face there. He had to leave. He was bleeding, and the backup goalie went in. But like, that should have been your momentum shift. You were going to get the full energy from the Hurricanes. You had a brace for that, and you had to take advantage of their goalie, who again doesn't speak any English. So there's going to be a communication issue between him and his teammates, who played 3 regular season games, like 22, 23 years old. I mean, that was the perfect spot for you to take advantage, get yourself back into this game, into the series, come back up with the series tied 1-1, for Game 3. But instead, you let the momentum get out of the way, you let the Hurricanes take control, and they blew punches at you that you couldn't absorb and that you couldn't handle, resulting in a 5-2 loss. It's very, very upsetting. It's saddening, it's maddening, and depressing. Now listen, I wasn't going to sit here and say that the Bruins are going to win the series, in 5 games. At the beginning of the series, I would say 6 or 7. And it very well could be 6 or 7 games. But the fact that you don't even look like you belong in this series is what kills me inside. Is you don't even look like you belong. It just looks like that you're just outmatched by a Carolina Hurricane team that is simply better than you. And I don't think that's the case. If you were to compare the rosters and go pound for pound, I just don't think that they're up and down better than you. Could you say that they're slightly better than you? Yeah, sure. But I'm not going to say that you're, it's not David and Goliath, or that it's unwinnable. But it's just, you're making it very difficult to watch. Now listen, it's only been 2 games, but you're down 2-0. So you have a tough uphill battle ahead of you. Is it doable? Yes. Should you be able to do it? Yes. Can you do it? Yes. But will you do it? Will you come back from being down 2 games to nothing? Again, Game 3 is tomorrow Friday at 7 p.m. What kind of Bruins are we going to get in that game? Are we going to get the Bruins that we know and love, that had a fantastic stretch around January, February, who has played fairly well all season long? Are we going to get the Bruins that had 107 points in the regular season? Or are we going to get a team that just wants to get swept, go home, see you later, see you next year, new coach, new GM, new roster? Like, are you already checked out? Because for me, playoff hockey is so fun to watch. It's so enjoyable. It's so pure, and one of the best products we have in sports entertainment market. But it just makes it even sweeter and even juicier when the Bruins are directly involved. Obviously, if the Bruins were to get eliminated, I'm still going to watch playoff hockey, but it's not going to be as fun. Because, I can stress and worry about this game and the Bruins, and then when I'm watching the other games, whether it's the Maple Leafs and Lightning series or whatever, I can watch that, relax, and be hopeful, like, hey, it'd be kind of cool to play this team, or, we don't want to play that team. Meanwhile, you can't even get out of the first round, so I don't want to look ahead. I preached it. Don't look ahead in the Celtics series. And my mindset is going to be the same exact thing here with the Bruins and the Hurricane in their series. Don't look ahead. Don't look at Game 4. Don't look at Game 5, 6, or 7. Focus on Game 3. Because all you can control right now is Game 3. And the outcome that we get with Game 3. Will we win? Will we lose? There's no ties. There's no shootouts, no overtime losses. And it's just win or go home. And right now the Bruins are playing like they just want to go home. And if that's the case, then fine. I'm not going to watch. I'm not going to watch Game 3 and Game 4. Let's just get this over and see you next year. But do you want to fight? Do you want to perform? Do you want to play to the highest level that you possibly can, because you guys play at that level on a regular basis? Do you want us fans to back you up and support you and to be there for you? And when you score a goal, we get excited. And when you give one up, we get pissed. Because listen, people love to play in Boston, whether it's the Red Sox, Celtics, the Bruins. You can even throw the Patriots in there because the fan base is so passionate. Because the fan base is so passionate, we will be behind you. We will be the sixth man on the court. We will be the sixth man on the ice. We will be the 12th man on the field. We will be the 10th hitter in your lineup, or the 10th fielder out in the outfield. That is what the Boston fan base will do for their sports teams. But we're only going to do that for you and be there for you if you show us and give us a reason why we should. When the Celtics sucked, when was it? Last year, and they were in the Brooklyn Nets series, and they just got, they lost in 5. There was no reason for us to support and root for the Celtics. You were outmatched, you were outgunned, and you weren't playing like you wanted to be there. In the 2020 COVID season, the Red Sox sucked, which it was a shortened season, 60 games. A lot of teams sucked that shouldn't have. A lot of bad teams played good. So it was a weird season. So we kind of checked out. But in 2021, when the Red Sox started off hot, we bought in. They cooled off just a bit. They picked it back up. So it's like we bought in. You made it all the way to the American League Championship Series. And we were behind you. We were with you all the way. You were 2 games away from going to the World Series. We were with you. We were behind you. When the Bruins made it to the Stanley Cup Finals in 2019, we were with you. We were behind you. We were skating with you. We were cheering for you. We were fist pumping you. That is what you get when you play here in Boston. You get that type of fan base, that type of love and support that you don't get in every other market. You do not get that in every single market. Is that level of connectivity, that level of support, passion, love, energy, excitement. But only if you show that to us in return will we give it to you. You have to show us that you're going to go out there, play with your heart on your sleeves, go out and win Game 3. And don't just win it by the skin of your teeth. Win it in convincing fashion. Give us something to be excited for in Game 4. Don't just win game 3 on the skin of your teeth and be like, oh, we could have easily lost that game only if this happened. Oh, we should have lost that game. It's just, it's tough. It's really, really tough. You guys can tell how passionate I am about this. And it's not just a Bruins issue. Again, it's a Celtics, Red Sox, Patriots issue as well. But the Bruins need to go out and win game 3 against the Carolina Hurricanes, as they are down in the series 2-0, with the series going back to Boston with a puck drop a little after 7 o'clock. But that is our Bruins catch-up minute. Hopefully you guys can kind of get an idea of where the Bruins are at currently in their most recent stretch towards the end of the regular season, and obviously here in the start of the playoffs, where they currently sit in the first 2 games being down 2-0 to those Hurricanes. But listen, they're down, but I don't think they're out. They are definitely down, but they're not out. But they could easily get knocked out. Easily. But again, game 3 will be a big, massive tell for us. Game 3 against the Bucks for the Boston Celtics in their respective series tips off Saturday, May 7th at 3:30. So a huge layoff between games 2 and game 3. That gives the Celtics more time to rest, but then again, vice versa, it gives the Bucks more time to rest as well. Celtics lost game 1, 101-89. They win game 2, 109-86. What do we expect from both teams here in game 3? Well, the Bucks had a terrible shooting performance, and the Celtics defense really stepped it up in game 2. Obviously, that's what we saw the vice versa in game 1, where the Bucks were just shooting the lights out of the ball, and the Celtics couldn't play no defense. But then again, they couldn't score either. Whereas in game 2, they were able to score and play defense and shut down the Bucks. Game 3, going to Milwaukee, I have no idea what to expect. I really don't. Could we see the defensive Celtics shut down Giannis and his supporting cast yet again? I'm going to lean that it's not likely that that's going to happen, because now the Bucks are home and their role players are home. And I've said this again. I think I even said it on Monday. No, I said it on Friday last week. Role players, bench players, the supporting players, whatever you want to call them, play better at home because they have the support of their fans and that fan base being in that home arena. So when they play good, make a big play, they hear the crowd, and it just gets them going even more. And I think that's going to play a big factor going to Milwaukee, the series tied. Could we come back to Boston for game 5 with the series tied at 2-2? Yeah, sure. Doomsday scenario, obviously you lose both of these games in Milwaukee and you come back home 3-1. Best case, obviously you're up 3-1. But I think the most likely scenario is you come back to Boston and it's tied 2-2. I do. I mean, I've said this series could go 6 or 7. A lot of people are saying 7. It's a really interesting matchup between two teams that one that can shoot the lights out of the ball and the other that can play great defense. So what will prevail, the defense or the offense? And obviously in game 1, the offense prevailed. In game 2, the defense prevailed. What's game 3 going to be look? Is it going to be a coin flip? As long as the Celtics don't get into a 3-point shootout contest with the Bucks, I think they'll be fine. They're going to put themselves in a much better position to win that game. If they play defense, they turn their defense into offense, they execute an offensive game plan, shoot your wide open shots, try to create open shots, and go at the Milwaukee Bucks. Get a Giannis into foul trouble. Get a Brook Lopez into foul trouble. Get under their skin. Take the fans out of the game. That's the key. Not being on your home court anymore is you have to take the fans out of the game. You absolutely have to. So therefore, those bench players don't perform well because there's nothing to cheer about. When you're up 20, say they make a layup, there's nothing to cheer about. You have to get under the Bucks' skin. You have to go out and give them a full-fledged punch to start the game. You opened the first quarter 32-21, and I believe 15-2, and then I think it was like 30-15. So I know basketball is a game of runs. The Celtics are going to go on a run. The Bucks are going to go on a run. Celtics and then the Bucks. That's just how it's going to happen. That's just basketball. But you got to control those runs. When you're on the run, you have to drag it out and make it as big and as large and as strong as you can. But when you're against it and the Bucks are going on a run, you have to find a way to eliminated at its core, whether that's calling a timeout, getting a stop, blocking a shot, making your own shot. You just have to control the flow of the game and don't let it get too ahead of you. Don't let it get too far behind you. I really do think the Celtics have a really good chance at winning the series. I'm not going to sit here and say that they will. I know a lot of people have been coming to the shop here at Murph's Cartown Sports Shop and telling me, seriously telling me that the Celtics have the series in the bag, that they think they'll easily handle the Bucks. And I don't think that's the case. They're the defending champs for a reason. Yes, they don't have Chris Middleton, which does suck for them, and it's good for you, so you have to take advantage of that. You have to take advantage of the fact that Chris Middleton's not playing. He's clearly the second best player. All the pressure is on Giannis right now. And who knows? I mean, I know he's been ruled out for the series, Middleton, but who knows? Come a Game 7, they may just have him come in for 15, 20 minutes just to give them something. Just to give them something. You just don't know. So, being the Celtics, being as healthy as you are, you have to take advantage of that because your second best player, Jaylen Brown, is better than their second best player. Is that Drew Holiday? Bobby Portis? Wesley Matthews? Pat Connaughton? Like, you see where I'm getting at here? You see where I'm getting at? Your team is way deeper than theirs. Your team should be better than theirs. I mean, Giannis playing 38 minutes and only getting 28 points. You have to control Giannis. But if you can get whatever Giannis is putting up out of Tatum in last game scored 29 points in 43 minutes, you're going to be in a pretty good spot. You got 30 points out of Jaylen Brown in 38 minutes. The next highest scorer for the Bucks was Drew Holiday with 19 in 40 minutes. Control the runs of the games. If Tatum can put up the same thing Giannis is putting up, I feel so much better that the Celtics, with Brown, Horford, Grant Williams, Rob Williams, Marcus Smart if he plays in Game 3, will be able to outshine the Bucks. Pat Connaughton, Drew Holiday, Grayson Allen, Bobby Portis. I like the Celtics' depth and their roster way better than I like the Milwaukee Bucks. But then again, they don't have Chris Middleton. So you throw in Chris Middleton into that mix, it all kind of evens out a little bit more. But for now, they don't have Chris Middleton, and you have to take advantage of that. You absolutely have to take advantage of that. Being in Milwaukee for Games 3 and Game 4 will be daunting. It will be difficult. It is everybody in that arena, everybody against you. And how will you perform? You performed excellent against the Nets in Game 3 and Game 4 of your previous series, winning Game 3 against the Nets 109-103. Winning against the Nets 116-112 in Game 4. Now, the Bucks are a completely different team than the Brooklyn Nets. But again, you've shown the ability to go out and win on the road here in the playoffs. You did it twice, finishing a sweep. What can you do against a better team, better coach, the defending champions, and a team that is clearly more level-headed and a team that is more hungry? In the Milwaukee Bucks. What will you do on the road? If you go out and lose Game 3 and you look absolutely ugly, Game 4 is going to be really, really tough. If you lose Game 3 on a nail-biter, okay, Game 4 isn't so hard. It's still tough. It's still difficult because you don't want to come back to Boston 3-1 or down 3-1 and the pressure's on you to win Game 4. But if you can win Game 3, now we're talking. Now you take the life out of the Bucks a little bit, and you take a little bit of life out of that fan base. Because I don't think they're so passionate. Yes, the Milwaukee Bucks, let's see, that area has the Brewers, that area has the Packers. So there is a good sports fan base in that Milwaukee area. But are those Celtics fans? Like, come on, we know Celtics fans are much more passionate than Milwaukee Bucks. The Celtics are probably the most passionate fan base across the NBA. Give or take a couple teams here. So, I think the home court advantage means way more to the Celtics than it does to the Bucks. I'm sorry, no, it means way more to the Bucks than it does the Celtics. Because the Bucks need to play good to keep their fans involved. Whereas the Celtics may be down by 10, but I think that Celtics fan base is going to help pull them out, especially if the Celtics start making a couple shots. But will the Milwaukee Bucks fan base be able to pull the Bucks out of, a 10-point deficit with a couple shots being made? We're going to have to wait and see. The fans do play a role in these playoff series, especially basketball. I didn't talk about it much in hockey, because does it matter? Yes, of course. You play the regular season for home ice. I don't think it's as much as a factor in hockey as it is in basketball. And I've said this time and time again that basketball home court is probably the most important home field advantage that there is. And it's going to really come down to what the Bucks and their fan base is able to do for the team. And if the Celtics can kind of take the fans out of it, eliminate that advantage that the Bucks have, and stick it to them in Game 3. I mean, what I would love to see the Celtics do here in this series is really go out, stick it to them, convincingly win Game 3 to put all the pressure on them in Game 4. Is that a possibility? Yeah, of course it is. Will it happen? I don't know. That's why we're going to have to wait and watch on Saturday. I know, Saturday. Come on. So far away. Why is it so far away? Makes no sense. Makes no sense. We had Game 2 on Tuesday. We have to wait 4 days. I hate the NBA playoff schedule. It is the stupidest thing. I mean, even in the Brooklyn Nets series, there's like a 3-day layoff, which I kind of get it, scheduling-wise, TV scheduling-wise, travel times. I get all that. But I don't know. I'm really excited for it. You've heard me talk about the Bruins. You've heard me talk about the Celtics. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your opinions. Leave them down in the comment section below if you're listening to this on YouTube, or reach out to me via social media at Murph's Cardtown if you're listening to this on audio-only platforms such as Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, Stitcher. Wherever you're listening to your podcast or wherever you listen to your podcasts, you can find Murph's Boston Sports Talk there as well. Who do I think has the better chance? Hold on, scratch that. Let me rephrase. I want to say at the beginning of the season, or maybe in like the fall, maybe early winter, I sat here and said, looking at the 4 sports teams here in the Boston area, Red Sox, Celtics, Bruins, Patriots, I sat here and said that the Bruins have the best chance to win a championship out of those 4 teams. You saw the Patriots get smacked by the Bills, or, struggling in the division. Red Sox just came off an ALCS run, ultimately failed, but I think they overachieved a little bit. Clearly, I don't think they did nearly as much as they should have to help that team. They brought in Trevor Story, nice. No pitching. Listen, Michael Walker's been playing nice, yes, pitching nice. But their bullpen has been decent, but there's no closer, and that's absolutely killing you. Celtics at that time wasn't on their big run, or they had just started. So there was really no high expectations for the Celtics because they were just kind of muddling in the middle for a bit there. But then you have the Bruins on a hot streak, or approaching their hot streak like the Celtics. They have championship aspirations. They were just in the the NHL Finals, Stanley Cup Finals a couple years ago. They have a bunch of good players. So I sat here and said that I think the Bruins had the best chance at winning their respective title. But now I'm looking at the Bruins. Now I'm looking at the Celtics. Right now, if I had to pick, absolutely it's the Celtics. Absolutely. Now, that's obviously, I'm not trying to say the Celtics are going to win and it's going to be easy. But given the way the Celtics have been playing, the way they've been able to score, shoot, play defense, the coaching, the chemistry, I have to emphasize the defense again, is all better than what you're getting from any of the other 3 teams. Now, granted, the Patriots, they're not playing right now. It's, the off season. But let's consider the draft, too. Let's consider free agency. Let's consider what other teams around the league have done to improve their team where the Patriots have not. Again, the Red Sox. Lineup is a little stagnant. Then you have the pitching looking in shambles, especially the back end of that bullpen. What are you getting out of your starting rotation? There's so many questions in the Bruins. Again, down 2-0. Where'd the power play go? Where'd the offensive scoring go? Defense looks shaky. Goaltending possibly shaky. At least Linus Ullmark is. We don't know about Swayman. But Celtics don't nearly have any questions. Again, the only thing that can beat them, I think, at this point is just playing against a better team. And right now, I don't think the Bucks are a better team. If not, they're probably even. Maybe the Celtics are just a little bit better. But then again, they don't have the coaching issues. They don't have free agent issues. They don't have trade deadline issues. They're not down in the series issues. So, I mean, there's a lot less issues and a lot less questions that the Celtics have compared to a team like the Bruins, who just started their playoff run. A team like the Red Sox, who have now been playing for over a month. The Patriots, who have had a very disappointing offseason, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinions. So I'm going to have to vault the Celtics all the way back up to the top, that they're the team closest or most probable to winning their respective title. And if you disagree with me, please let me know in the comments or reach out to me via social media. Let me know. Are the Red Sox in a better position? Are the Bruins in a better position? Are the Patriots in a better position? Tell me why. Because the way I see it, the Celtics have the star power. They have depth. They're deep. They have shooting. They have defense. They have the coach. Obviously, they have home court for the first series and the second series here. If they play the Heat in this next series, if they get to that point, they won't. But these are all intangibles and factors that the Celtics are able to control, and they're controlling it well. Whereas the Bruins, which I've already talked about, offensive game plan, defensive, goaltending, special teams, what you do with the puck, the hitting, and the pace of play, like, all those things are controllable, but they're losing control or have lost control of those things. So that's why I think the Celtics are in a much better position than the Bruins, or at least any of the other teams in the Boston area. But like I said, I could be blatantly wrong. I could be missing something, and I would love for you to let me know. But with that being said, that is going to wrap up today's episode of Murph's Boston Sports Talk. I really appreciate you downloading, listening, and enjoying all episodes of Murph's Boston Sports Talk. I really hope you did enjoy today's episode as I dove deep into the Bruins. I dove deep into the Celtics, and I cannot wait to sit here in 8 days. Oh my goodness, I gotta wait over a week to record the next episode. It's gonna feel like a long time, but again, something I want to try out, releasing one episode a week. So we'll see how it goes, and I definitely am looking forward to this subtle change that you guys suggested and you guys wanted. So we'll see what it does. But that is going to do it for episode number 141 of Murph's Boston Sports Talk. Again, thank you so much for downloading, listening, and enjoying. If you're listening to this episode on YouTube, please make sure you like the video, comment down below, and please, please, please subscribe to the channel if you're new or have not considered subscribing, as I would greatly appreciate the love and support. That is going to do it for this one, guys. Enjoy the weekend. It's going to be some great weather outside, excellent spring weather for some playoff basketball, playoff hockey, and of course, some Red Sox baseball as well. That is going to do it for this one. You guys know that I love you, and I will always, always see you.